They are not victims of fate, but of their own design. Trapped in a tempest they thought they controlled. They believed they could play the weather, but the storm is not a puppet. It is a force, and now it has turned on its master. People like this are quick to rewrite history. They cast themselves as the misunderstood, the wounded, the heroes of their own tragedy. They paint you as the villain, the one who left them out in the rain, ignoring the fact that they created the flood. They expect sympathy for the dampness they feel, failing to acknowledge the rivers they created with their own hands. They rewrite the narrative, twisting the truth until they believe their own lies. But the truth is, like the rain, it washes away the facade, leaves only what is real. And reality is a storm that does not bend to their will. You no longer offer them shelter. The doors to your world are closed. The warmth of your hearth reserved for those who bring light, not storms. You watch from a distance as they battle the winds of their own creation, as they struggle against the very forces they unleashed. You feel no need to intervene, no urge to save them from themselves. You have learned that rescuing those who create storms only encourages them to do it again. Your empathy is not an endless river. It is a well, and now you guard it with iron gates. Their downfall is not swift. It is a slow, drowning realization. At first, they believe the storm will pass, that the sun will return, that they can find another shelter. But as time drags on, they begin to see the truth. The world offers no refuge for those who destroy what they touch. The rain soaks into their bones. The cold settles into their spirit. They become a living monument to their own choices, a reminder that actions have consequences, that the universe does not forget. They try to find new victims, new umbrellas to hide under. But the word has spread. People see the storm clouds that follow them, recognize the chaos in their wake. Doors remain closed, hands stay hidden, and they are left alone in the deluge. The world does not abandon them. They have abandoned themselves, driving away every source of warmth with their own selfishness. They wander through the rain, ghosts in a world that has moved on, seeking shelter where there is none to be found. The rain has a cleansing quality. While they sink into the mud, you rise. The storm that was meant to drown you has only washed away the last traces of their influence. The air is clearer, the sky brighter, and the world feels fresh, reborn. You walk forward, not as a survivor of the storm, but as the master of your own weather. You bring sunlight where you go, understanding now that your warmth is precious, that your light is not for those who only bring darkness. The vacuum effect of unmet needs is a phenomenon as ruthless as gravity, an invisible force that pulls at the soul, leaving nothing but a hollow ache. When people neglect what truly matters, when they dismiss the value of love, loyalty, and genuine connection, they create a void within themselves. They wander through life believing that they can fill this emptiness with superficial pleasures, fleeting distractions, and hollow praise. But a vacuum devours everything and remains unsatisfied. The more they consume, the more the void expands, turning their lives into a black hole of insatiable need. These are the ones who fed off your energy, treating your kindness like an all-you-can-eat buffet. They were emotional parasites, drawing strength from your compassion, grounding their chaos in your stability. You became their anchor, the steady presence they took for granted. They feasted on your love, but contributed nothing, leaving you drained while they walked away. bloated with the satisfaction of taking without giving. But nature abhors a vacuum, and what they took from you left a void within them, a chasm they could not recognize until you were no longer there to fill it. When you left, the vacuum effect began its work. What was once an imperceptible tug became a violent pull, a force that twisted their insides with longing. They sought comfort in the arms of others, in the validation of strangers, in the intoxication of temporary highs. But nothing could fill the void. They discovered that what they needed was not more, but what they had already lost. The vacuum gnawed at them, whispering your name in the silence, showing your face in the shadows. Their needs, once met effortlessly by your presence, became an unbearable weight in your absence. The void does not remain polite for long. When left unaddressed, it becomes a monster, a gnashing, ravenous beast that consumes everything they touch. They try to recreate what they had with you, mimicking the motions of love, feigning the gestures of connection. But the world is not so easily fooled. Those who cross their path sense the hunger, the desperation behind their smiles, the need that leaks through every word, every touch. They become the embodiment of the vacuum effect, moving through life like a black hole, drawing people in only to drain them and leave them empty. Desperation has a scent. It clings to them, staining every interaction. People feel it, the bottomless pit where their soul should be, the way their needs are not just desires, but demands. They become repellent, a personification of neediness, forever seeking, but never finding. The more they try to fill the void, the deeper it becomes. The vacuum demands sacrifices, consuming their dignity, their integrity, their peace. They're trapped in a vicious cycle, where every attempt to heal only widens the wound, where every touch they seek pushes others further away. They become collectors of people, hoarders of affection. They pile up contacts, friendships, romances, believing that quantity can replace quality. But a vacuum has no bottom. It swallows everything and remains just as empty. They find themselves surrounded by bodies, but untouched by souls. Their life becomes a gallery of empty frames, a room full of echoes. Every person they encounter leaves faster than the last, their own emptiness driving others away. The vacuum effect ensures that nothing sticks, that everything they touch withers and fades. While they spiral, you rebuild. The energy they drained from you is now invested in yourself. You nurture your own needs, create your own light, fill your own cup. The vacuum they left in you has become fertile ground, where new connections grow, where self-love blooms. You understand the value of fulfillment, of meeting your own needs before offering to meet others. Your boundaries become walls against the vacuum effect, keeping out those who seek only to take, preserving your energy for those who give as much as they receive. The vacuum within them begins to distort reality. They see ghosts of you in every person they meet, hear your voice in the words of strangers, chase your shadow through the halls of their own mind. The past becomes a prison, each memory a chain. They are haunted by the choices they made, by the love they wasted, by the void they carved with their own hands. They try to escape, but a vacuum pulls inward. It does not allow anything to leave. They are stuck, forced to live in the absence of what they once had, surrounded by the hollow echoes of their unmet needs. The world does not cater to vacuums. It rewards those who are whole, who bring value, who create instead of consume. As they continue to spiral, Doors close, opportunities dry up, connections sever. The vacuum effect is ruthless. It strips them of everything, leaving only the raw, aching need they tried so hard to deny. They become a warning to others, a living testament to what happens when you fail to value what fills you. They move through life as shadows, unable to fill the void, unable to escape the pull of their own emptiness. The nostalgia trap is a gilded cage, beautiful to look at, but impossible to escape. It lures people in with golden-hued memories, whispering sweetly of days gone by, of moments where everything felt just right. But beneath the warmth lies a prison of longing. Those who fall into the nostalgia trap find themselves chained to the past, unable to move forward, haunted by the echoes of what they lost. It is a cruel trick of the mind, a mirage in the desert, offering comfort, but delivering only thirst. They are stuck replaying the highlight reel of a life they can no longer touch, trapped in a reality that exists only in their own mind. When they had you, they saw nothing special. They walked past your love as if it were furniture, always there, always the same, something they no longer needed to notice. But when you left, the world shifted. Suddenly, every corner of their life felt colder, every room emptier. The nostalgia trap began to set itself, wrapping them in the barbed wire of their own memories. They remembered the small things, how you laughed, how you listened, how your presence turned the mundane into magic. They began to crave the very thing they discarded, realizing too late that nostalgia is a double-edged sword. It gives comfort, but cuts deep. They try to recreate what they lost, but reality is never as kind as memory. The more they reach back, the further away it feels. Nostalgia keeps showing them the good, but the present is relentless, offering nothing but the consequences of their choices. They find themselves surrounded by people who do not understand them, by faces that do not light up when they enter the room. Every attempt to replicate the past only reinforces how far they have fallen. The world they live in now is a shadow, a grayscale version of the vibrant life they had with you. The mind plays tricks in the nostalgia trap. It smooths over the rough edges, erases the pain, amplifies the joy. They forget the reasons they let you go, the moments they made you feel small, the ways they betrayed your trust. They become the victim in their own story, a tragic hero who lost something precious through no fault of their own. But deep down, the truth gnaws at them. It whispers in the quiet moments, showing them flashes of their own cruelty, their own arrogance. The trap tightens and they begin to realize that the bars are not made of memories, but of guilt. People who live in the past age quickly. The world moves on, but they remain stuck, anchored to a version of themselves that no longer exists. They become relics, artifacts of a time no one else remembers. While you build new memories, forge new connections, and grow into someone even they would not recognize, they remain lost in the labyrinth of yesterday. Their conversations revolve around what was. Their smiles are reserved for ghosts. The nostalgia trap ensures that they can never truly live in the present, only haunt it. They try to pull others into their trap. They tell stories of you, painting themselves as the victim of lost love, hoping to draw sympathy. They romanticize the past, but their words are like honey on a blade, sweet but sharp, leaving cuts on anyone who gets too close. They push away potential connections by comparing them to you, setting standards they once claimed you never met. The irony is bitter. They once diminished your worth, but now you are the benchmark, the impossible standard that no one else can reach. They are prisoners, not of you, but of their own inability to accept that they were the ones who let you slip away. The nostalgia trap is a thief of joy. While they replay old memories, life passes them by. They are always a step behind, chasing shadows, hearing echoes. They see you thriving, and it burns. You are no longer part of their world, yet you live rent-free in their mind, a constant reminder of the life they could have had. The trap feeds on this, showing them glimpses of you, how you have grown, how you have loved, how you have built a future without them. It makes their present feel like a punishment, every moment colored by the regret they cannot shake. You, on the other hand, are free. You see the past for what it was, a chapter, not the whole story. You have no need for the nostalgia trap because you understand that the past is only a place to visit, not to live. You use your memories as lessons, not as crutches. While they drown in what was, you swim toward what could be. You are the embodiment of progress, of evolution, of survival. Your scars are badges of honor, proof that you faced the storm and emerged stronger. Their scars are self-inflicted, wounds they keep reopening with every trip down memory lane. The trap has no end unless they choose to escape. But escaping means facing the truth, and truth is the one enemy they cannot defeat. It would mean admitting they were wrong, that they undervalued you, that they mistook your love for convenience. It would mean looking in the mirror and seeing the villain, not the victim. Few have the strength to do this. Most will remain in the trap, telling themselves the same stories, reliving the same moments, blaming the world for the emptiness they feel. When people lose someone valuable, the ground beneath their feet shifts. What once felt solid and secure now crumbles into dust. They wander through the ruins of their own life, lost, disoriented, grasping at shadows of the past. They experience a self-identity crisis, not the gradual kind that comes with age and growth, but a violent upheaval that rips apart everything they thought they knew. Their sense of stability, once a quiet undercurrent of their existence, is revealed to have been an illusion, propped up by your presence. You were the scaffolding holding up their world. And now, with you gone, the whole structure teeters on the edge of collapse. These are the people who built their identity on borrowed light. When you were in their life, they basked in the warmth of your love, your strength, your support. They stood tall, but only because you were their backbone. They believed themselves to be whole, not realizing they were merely a reflection of your generosity. Now, without you, the mirror is cracked, and they are forced to look into their own fragmented soul. What they see is unsettling, a hollow vessel, a life filled with placeholders instead of purpose. They become strangers to themselves, their once familiar world, now an alien landscape where nothing feels right. The self-identity crisis is not just confusion, it is a disintegration. They unravel thread by thread, each day pulling loose another piece of the facade. The things they once enjoyed feel empty. The people they once valued seem distant. Their routines become meaningless rituals, echoes of a life that no longer exists. They try to recreate the past, to force their world back into the shape it held when you were by their side. But the pieces no longer fit. The life they led was built around you, and without you, it is nothing but a skeleton of what was, devoid of the flesh and warmth that you brought. They begin to question everything. Was their confidence real, Or was it borrowed from your belief in them? Was their happiness genuine, or just a reflection of your joy? They start to see how much of their identity was not self-made, but gifted by your presence. You were their anchor, their compass, the quiet force that kept them on course. Now, adrift, they realize they never learned how to steer their own ship. The self-identity crisis turns their mind into a storm with no safe harbor in sight. Every decision feels wrong. Every step takes them further into the unknown. In their desperation, they grasp at new identities. They try on different masks, hoping to find one that feels real. They mimic those around them, adopt the opinions of others, shapeshift into whatever seems to offer stability. But none of it sticks. The vacuum left by your absence is not a void that can be filled with pretense. It is a wound that festers, a hunger that cannot be satisfied by anything less than what they lost. The more they struggle to redefine themselves, the clearer it becomes that they are lost. Their self-identity crisis is not a journey of discovery, but a descent into chaos. People around them start to notice the change. They become erratic, their emotions raw and unfiltered. The calm they once displayed, borrowed from your influence, gives way to volatility. They lash out, withdraw, swing between extremes as they try to find footing on shifting sands. Their relationships suffer, their work falters, their world narrows to a tunnel of regret and confusion. They become a ghost of themselves, haunted by the realization that their stability was never their own. You were the source, and now, with the source gone, they are left to starve on their own inadequacy. The villainous truth is that their suffering is self-made. They did not lose their identity because you left. They lost it because they never built it themselves. They coasted through life on borrowed strength, leaning on you without acknowledging your value. They took your presence as a given, a resource they could draw on without ever giving back. Now, the bill has come due. The universe demands balance, and they are paying for every moment they dismissed you. Every time, they undervalued your worth. Their self-identity crisis is not a punishment, but a reckoning, a settling of scores. As they spiral, you rise. Their loss becomes your liberation. Without the weight of carrying them, you soar higher, your strength growing in the space they once occupied. You find new stability, but unlike theirs, it is internal. You build a life rooted in self-love, in genuine connections, in the fulfillment of your own needs. You become everything they pretended to be: confident, grounded, whole. You do not need to chase validation or mimic those around you. Your identity is forged in the fires of your own journey, not borrowed from someone else's light. Their self-identity crisis deepens as they watch you thrive. It gnaws at them, a constant reminder that they are the architects of their own downfall. They see you become what they could not, and it burns. They try to re-enter your world, hoping that a taste of your stability might ground them again. But you are a closed door, a window they can only look through. The self-identity crisis turns to bitterness, and in their heart, resentment festers. They rewrite the story, casting you as the villain to soothe the sting of their own inadequacy. But you remain untouchable. The crisis they endure is a storm they brewed with their own choices, and no amount of blame, shifting, can change that. They are trapped in a maze of their own making, searching for an identity they never took the time to build. Meanwhile, you walk forward, a fortress of self-worth, a beacon of what happens when someone chooses to value themselves instead of waiting for others to do it for them. They did not value you, and now they are empty inside, lost in a crisis that has no end, while you are everything they pretended to be: powerful, resilient, whole. Be aware. Awareness is a blade, sharp, precise, and merciless. It cuts through illusions, exposes hidden truths, and leaves no room for comfort in lies. When you become aware, the world transforms. Faces you once trusted reveal their true colors. Words you accepted at face value unravel into threads of manipulation. Awareness is not a gentle awakening, but a violent rupture of the veil that kept you blind. It is a rebirth, and like all births, it is painful. But from that pain comes power, the kind that separates the predator from the prey, the ruler from the ruled, the one who sees from those who stumble through the dark. Be aware of how people move around you. Their actions are not random, but calculated. They test your boundaries with small transgressions, gauging your response, measuring how much they can take before you push back. They drip-feed disrespect, a drop at a time, hoping you become accustomed to the taste. When you do not react, when you allow the small wounds, they become bold. The knife goes deeper. The betrayals become grander. Those who do not value you are always playing a long game, building towards the moment when they can take everything you offer and leave you hollow. But awareness disrupts their plans. It forces them into the light where their shadows cannot hide. Be aware of the patterns. People reveal themselves through repetition. The first lie is a mistake, the second a habit, the third a strategy. Watch how they treat others. Listen to the way they speak about those no longer in their lives. You are not the exception to their behavior. You are simply their current focus. They have walked this path before, left bodies in their wake, drained souls, broken spirits. They move through life like a plague, feeding on trust and leaving behind only emptiness. Awareness allows you to see this cycle and step aside before you become the next casualty. Be aware of the silence. There is truth in what is not said, in the pauses, in the quiet. When you ask a question and receive only vagueness, when your concerns are met with deflection, when your intuition screams while their words whisper, you are standing on the edge of a lie. The silence is a warning, a red flag in the form of empty space. Those who do not value you will avoid direct answers because truth is their enemy. They thrive in the gray, in the half-spoken promises, in the comfort of your doubt. Awareness sharpens your senses, allowing you to read between the lines, to decipher the unspoken messages, to recognize the danger lurking beneath their calm facade. Be aware of your own worth. The greatest weapon in your arsenal is the understanding that you are not disposable. When you know your value, you become immune to the tactics of those who seek to diminish you. They can no longer manipulate you with scarcity, no longer control you with the threat of their absence. Awareness builds an armor around your spirit, making you untouchable by those who try to undermine your confidence. When you stand firm in your worth, you force the world to meet you at your level, or not at all. You become the standard, the prize, the force that cannot be swayed. Be aware of the cost of giving. Every act of kindness is a transaction. Those who do not value you will always take more than they give. They are thieves of energy, stealing your light to brighten their own shadows. They drain you, slowly, deliberately, turning your generosity into their life support. Awareness teaches you to measure your outpouring, to ensure that what you give is met with gratitude, not greed. You learn to invest your love where it grows, not where it is hoarded. You cut off those who take without giving back, who mistake your kindness for weakness, who believe that your open hand is a sign of surrender. Be aware of time. Those who do not value you will waste it, drawing you into their chaos, keeping you on hold, dangling the promise of change without ever delivering. They distract you with false hopes, steal your days with meaningless drama, keep you in a loop where every tomorrow is just a repetition of today. Awareness breaks the cycle. You see through the fog, recognize the pattern, and reclaim your time as the precious resource it is. You become ruthless in protecting your days, your minutes, your moments. Those who do not honor your time are exiled from your presence, left to wander without your light to guide them. Be aware of the exit. Not all doors need to remain open. Some connections are poison, and no amount of healing can turn them into medicine. Awareness is knowing when to walk away, when to let go, when to close the chapter without needing closure. Those who do not value you will always want access to you, even when they offer nothing in return. They keep the door ajar, just enough to re-enter when they need something, but never fully stepping in with commitment. Awareness teaches you to shut the door, to lock it, to find peace in the finality of goodbye.